The Ocean Race Europe was an opportunity for Louis Burton and his crew to discover the new Bureau Valley in very varied conditions in the Mediterranean. Sometimes unusual situations, as Arthur Hubert shows when there's no wind.
This is the Sailing World on Water for July 9, 2021. Here are the highlights of the sport of sailing in the 7 days prior to today. The crew of IMOCA Bureau Valley had time for a swim during the recent Ocean Race Europe. More than 1,000 boats drifted around the Isle of Wight. The 44 Cup was in Lagos, Portugal. We are on board with Pip Hare as she raced around the island with 1,000 boats to accompany her. The European 18-footers had their championships on Lake Garda. The PWA World Cup was in Israel. Lake Garda also saw the 300-plus boat fleet of the Opti Worlds. The new Aegean 600 race started last weekend for the first time. We have the last part of the Sailing Squad series on Lake Geneva. And as the Tour de France cyclists are on Mount Blanc, the boats are off the French coast in the Tour Voile. Now let's join the huge fleet in Cowes.
The Island Sailing Club put on a spectacular 90th anniversary party for the 2021 Round the Island race. The huge fleet of over 1,200 boats showed how much people love taking part in this event. On the water there was everything from flat calm to 25-knot gusts, fog, and sun. And as with every Round the Island race, nothing compares to the sight of the fleet stretched out around the stunning Isle of Wight coast. Local Cowes boat, Eeyore, an Alacrity 18 bilge keel, secured back-to-back overall victories and retained the prestigious Gold Roman Bowl which she has held since the 2019 race. Owner and skipper of Eeyore, Joe Richards said, "The thing with Round the Island race is that it's like buses. You wait years and years and then two come along consecutively. Interesting race yesterday. We had a shocking first leg down to the Needles and luckily there was a little bit of a lull under the cliffs and we got back into our class, and from then on it was really tight. When we got to Bembridge Ledge, having got the rating list out we knew we had to finish a minute and a half ahead of one boat and 3 minutes ahead of another boat. It was pretty tense the whole way back, and being the smallest boat in the fleet, you've got no control if a 55-foot boat sits on top of you. It was only when we got back to shore and people started texting us that we thought we might have won. A great day out. Meanwhile, the Alan Buchanan-designed Chariot won the Silver Gilt Roman Bowl, awarded to the first boat overall in the ISCRS divisions. Owner and skipper of Chariot, Brian Hoare said, "We had a totally unexpected result and we were late getting to the start line. This was our 10th Round the Island race. We had a great day and it felt like normality had resumed." Peter Cunningham's multi-hull Mod 70 power play was the first to finish the race with a time of 4 hours 11 minutes 1 second. A light start to the race prevented any chance of beating the race record, which was set by power play as Concise 10, in 2017, 2 hours 22 minutes and 23 seconds. Powerplay finished this year's race ahead of the Ultima Actual, and the 32-meter Trimaran IDEC. Tala, owned by David Collins, was the first monohull to finish the race, with a time of 6 hours 11 minutes 36 seconds. The race in 2022 will be on Saturday the 25th of June.
It's rare even between the ultra-close RC44s for an event to go to the wire in such an extreme way as it did at the conclusion of the 44 Cup Maelstrom today. Going into the 10th and final race of the series, 5 teams were still capable of winning the event. John Basadoni's Peninsula Racing, with Ed Baird calling tactics, won today's opening race with a significant margin, while in race 2 it was the turn of Nico Poons' Charisma, causing the Dutchman's team to top the leaderboard going into the final race with a 3-point advantage over Igor Lars' team C-Ref. Chris Beck's team Aqua had started the final race in 3rd place overall, 5 points behind Charisma, and tied with Torben Tornquist Artemis Racing. Up the first beat of the final race, Team Aqua made great gains on the right side of the course and led comfortably around the top mark. They extended from there, but on crossing the finish line there was intense scrutiny of the arrival order behind, for if Charisma finished 5th, then the 44 Cup Marstrand would be hers. Despite a tremendous battle between the leaders, Charisma got stuck in traffic coming into the top mark, leaving her in last position, and by the finish had only managed to fight back to 6th. Victory was Team Aqua's, tied on points with Charisma but winning on countback.
You know, today was challenging. We had some great starts. We sort of executed the strategy that we thought was right, and we got to do what we wanted to do. In the first 2 races, it didn't work out. The first race was a disaster.
At the end, we just knew the only thing we could do is go and do the best we could, and we scored the right shift, and that gave us the lead. And for the rest, it was just about trying to stay ahead and wondering where all the other boats were going to finish, because I think 3 or 4 boats could have ended first, depending on who finished where. So up until the final leg of the final race, it could have been anyone's regatta, I think.
Well, it's a pity we couldn't finish it and win the regatta, but second is not bad, especially considering what we did last time in Portugal. So give some hopes for the rest of the season.
Torben Tornqvist Artemis Racing claimed 3rd overall, the 3rd occasion the Swedish former America's Cup challengers have finished on the podium at their event.
It was as exciting as you could ask for. It shows that every boat has a shot at the first place, that every boat also can make mistakes and it ends in the bottom. I mean, the points were so close for each boat. And it's a credit to the class. Last regatta was clearly not what we wanted to repeat, so we felt we made a lot of progress from that point of view. So overall, I'm very happy to be here with the sailing and be with all the friends we have in the class.
The 44 Cup now moves on to Cowes UK for the 3rd stop of the 2021 series, taking place over the 11th to the 15th of August.
Good morning. It's 5:30 in the morning and it's around the island race today. This river in about an hour and a half's time is going to be absolute mayhem, and out there over 1,000 boats. It's over 1,100 entries. As you can see, there's not a lot of wind, so it's going to be quite a tricky start. I am pleased to say I actually managed to sleep last night. That's not always a given since the Vendée Globe. I don't always sleep. So I'm just going to wolf my breakfast down and then toddle along to the Royal Yacht Squadron, which is up there. And I get to fire the starting cannon before going out and having a bit of a race myself.
30 seconds.
I'm on the platform at the squadron, and behind me the starting sequence is in progress. So we've already had the warning signal. We're about to get the preparatory signal. There's a time check first, I think. Out there you can see everyone is starting to line up. And I'm going to be firing the start gun. I've had my briefing. It's all go.
4, 3, 2, 1, start!
We're round the corner, round the first corner. The needles are back there, and that behind us there, that is one of the most iconic sights of around the island race. When you make it around the corner and look behind you, and there are hundreds of multicoloured spinnakers. I love that. We are doing okay on time, I think. Yeah. It's snack time, so Tom's eating. We're doing alright. We've chosen a code 0, so we're using a slightly smaller, flatter sail to get up this way, which is slightly different to our competitors, but it's going alright. We're just coming up to St. Catherine's Point now, and just there in the murk ahead of us you can see the lighthouse. I just need to get my way back up to windward because the breeze went forward. So jibs. Can't see that far behind because it is quite murky, but it looks like when we get to the corner we will be putting our spinnaker up. See how it goes. It with a lot of different boats, which makes it quite difficult. We sort of were in the sandwich between a 50-footer and a 24-footer earlier. We're going to get the sandwich. Ride stands here, very, very shallow here, so we can't go any further that way. Wind's got a bit fluky. We're going to have to concentrate for this last bit, but the end is in sight.
Two brothers winning J.J. Gilton and World 18-foot Skiff Championships is not too rare. There have been at least 10 brothers winning boats in the 71 championships held so far, but the Harris brothers have a rare distinction with their victories. The two brothers won their respective championship titles in different boats, and not together. John Harris won his championship as skipper of Rag and Famish Hotel in 2001. Peter Harris won his championship in the bow of God I Love It 7 in 2013. The story began in 1996 when John was introduced to the 18's by Craig Ferris, who was the sailing coach for the 2000 Olympics, after John had recently experienced a bad trip across Europe as part of his preparation for the Games. Craig had previously won the 1996 J.J. Gilton and World Championship with Stephen Quigley and Chris Cleary in AEI Pace Express, and had been approached by the Australian 18-footers League to run an 18-foot skiff campaign when Stephen Quigley retired before the 1996 to 1997 season. John Harris had already shown enough ability on the water and character off the water to convince the league that he was exactly the type of person to become a skipper in the club's fleet. Like a number of other 18-footer champions, John started sailing in sabots at Vaucluse Amateur 12-foot Sailing Club at age 7, then moved into flying 11s at 12. Peter Harris came to the 18's in 2002 after competing in the sabot and flying 11s out of the Vaucluse Amateur 12-foot Sailing Club when he teamed with Michael Lane and Chris Pomfret on the Rosemount wine-sponsored skiff. He then competed over the next 4 seasons with skipper John Sweeney before moving on to Rag and Famish Hotel with his brother John and Scott Babbage for the following 3 seasons, from 2007 to 2008 to 2009 to 2010. Following a season with Dave Gilmore on Black Swan, Peter joined Jack McCartney on Rag and Famish Hotels in 2011 to 2012 and sailed a total of 5 seasons with Jack until the 2016 to 2017 season. The only season when Peter wasn't a part of that team was 2012 when he sailed in the bow of God I Love It 7 with Sevi Jarvan, skipper, and Scott Babbage on the main sheet.
Welcome to the final day of competition here in Israel for the Tiberius PWA World Cup. This will be the last chance to move yourself up the rankings and secure the podium places.
Give me all of your lies, 'cause you're my demon in disguise. I learned to love the cage you keep me in, but the walls keep closing in, and I don't wanna die. A perfect storm, a beautiful catastrophe.
In the women's foil, we were set for a big upset. Helle Oppendal from Norway could steal the victory if she got a good result in the final. The problem is she didn't make the final. Sarah Keita won the final, just pipping Alice Reed for her first victory. But the overall standing stayed the same. Mortafon won it. Helle Oppendal, still a great result in second, and Blanca Alabau in third. In the women's slalom, it was Sarah Keita's to lose, but the second and third places, that was going to come down to the wire, with just 0.3 separating Marin Mortefon and Delphine Cousin-Kestel. But the problem was, Delphine Cousin-Kestel and Marion Mortefon sailed each other over the line, so it didn't make any difference to the overall. In the end, with Sarah Keita taking the win, but we have to have a mention for Tuesday, nearly bagging her first win, but being overtaken on the line by literally 50 cm. In the men's slalom, with first place already wrapped up with Nicolas Goya's dominant display, it was all about the podium places. There was a couple of guys that could make it. The first mistake though was from Matteo Iachino. He gambled on the fin and he didn't qualify. Then it was left to Maciej Rakowski, Enrico Marotti, William Hubert and Pierre Mortefon. But Pierre Mortefon was too strong in the final, bagging another win, making it back-to-back bullets, but this time on the foil. Him securing second place for the competition. Third place went to William Hubert. A close run thing with him and Maciej, but in the end, William's consistency was just too much. So that's it here in Israel. We are finished. What a 5 days it has been. Wind every day, 7 eliminations in the men, 7 in the women, and 4 in the foil. Are we coming back next year? You betcha. A perfect storm, a beautiful catastrophe.
After 2 days of Optimus Team Race World Championship, which ended yesterday with the success of the Italian team in final against Thailand, the individual Optimist World Championship resumed today for the 259 competitors. The wind was blowing steadily from the south at around 10 knots, progressively decreasing in intensity during the afternoon but allowing for 2 races to be completed. With the qualifying stage advancing the top 65 sailors into the Gold Fleet, American Gil Hackle seized the day by posting a first and second to now sit atop the leaderboard. Wekabanyabond, Thailand, who led entering today, slipped to second place with 17th and 11th places and now trails Hackle by 8 points. Completing the podium is Brazilian Alex Di Francesco Cool, who trails the lead by 13 points after 2 12th places today. The women's ranking continues to be led by Eva Lewandowska, Poland, sitting 14th overall, but the Italian Lisa Vusetti shortens the gap at only 3 points behind the leader.
Και είμαι πολύ χαρούμενος που σήμερα βρίσκομαι εδώ εκπροσωπώντας τον Πρωθυπουργό της χώρας μας, τον Κυριάκο Μητσοτάκη, σε μια εξαιρετικά μεγάλη και σημαντική διοργάνωση για τον αθλητισμό, για την αθλητική οικογένεια, για την νηστιοπλοεία. Να είμαστε έτοιμοι να δώσουμε την εκκίνηση σε αθλητές, σε σκάφη πάνω από 40 και από 16 διαφορετικές χώρες, σε μια διαδρομή που στην ουσία θα αγκαλιάσει όλο το Αιγαίο, 600 ναυτικά μίλια. Μια μοναδική εμπειρία που θα έχουν τη δυνατότητα να ζήσουν αθλητές ιστιοπλόοι από 16 διαφορετικά μέρη του κόσμου.
It's going to be a nice start. We are looking forward to it. In my personal opinion, this race has a great future. We win the race!
I think the start will be nice.
Andiamo!
Είναι 430 ιστιοπλόοι
μεταξύ των οποίων οι περισσότεροι, το 85% είναι ξένοι στιοπλόοι. Αυτό μας δίνει μεγάλη χαρά και ευελπιστούμε, όπως είπε και ο κύριος Υπουργός, ότι αυτό το Aegean 600 θα γίνει ένας θεσμός διαχρονικός πλέον, ο οποίος θα βοηθήσει στην προβολή και του ναυταθλητισμού, αλλά κυρίως του θαλασσίου τουρισμού και γενικότερα της Ελλάδος.
Είναι ένα event, ένα ναυταθλητικό event που πιστεύω ότι θα γίνει θεσμός. Να δώσω τα συγχαρητήριά μου στον πρωτεργάτη, τον κύριο Μαραγκουδάκη και στον Μποϊά, τον πρόεδρό του δηλαδή, για την συγκλονιστική αυτή ιδέα που είχε, η οποία γίνεται πραγματικότητα. Μας αποδεικνύει ότι τα όνειρα γίνονται πραγματικότητα. Τα συγχαρητήριά μου για αυτό το ναυταθλητικό event με πολιτιστικό, κοινωνικό, ιστορικό και τουριστικό χαρακτήρα.
We still have 3/4 of a lake to go, and we're right with our opposition. It's about to get dark. We need to switch into night mode. We need to stay focused.
It's midnight, and you can probably hear we're going really well. We have good wind. We have the spinnaker up. We're in second place.
So it's 2 o'clock in the morning. You just come into the small part of the lake. We can see Geneva, and right now we're fighting it out with 4 other Savos 33. Even after almost 15 hours of racing, we're really, really close together.
It was a lot of ups and downs, and that's what made it really exciting, is that it was never lost, it was never won.
When I first met the team, and actually the first time we went on the boat, I couldn't see how it was going to work. They were a group of people, most of which sail by themselves. They're used to making all the decisions themselves, and they're used to success. They're really competitive, driven. The first day on the boat was challenging. I mean, they all spoke at the same time. They all wanted to do every job, and I couldn't see how that team would ever, melt together. But actually, with a day's training and then in the heat of competition, they found their place.
So it's what time? Like 3:30. We are happy to finish, but we are really tired. And we did a very good move, but as well some bad. It was difficult, but it was very nice race.
I think one of my favorite moments was the night when it was completely dark and we could see the stars, and there was finally wind that we've been waiting for so long.
Right now we're going really fast. This is the fastest we've been the entire race, so that's very uplifting.
I really enjoyed the fact to share with the others, like, look here it's Lausanne, look here it's this mountain, and to at least that when they go home they learn more than just sailing. They learn also about Switzerland and the beauties of the country.
cycling uphill the mountain with the e-bike was amazing.
I remember Maxime saying to the team, guys, just be quiet for a moment and enjoy this moment. It was sunset, like we could hear the water on the Hoe. It was beautiful.
Marin sur le Tour Voile, c'est savoir naviguer dans toutes les conditions. C'est ce défi que sont venus relever les équipages du monde entier, comme le team Emile, venu des États-Unis.
J'étais déjà venu faire le tour quand j'étais plus jeune. C'était sur un Mom 30 à l'époque. Et j'ai trouvé que c'était l'expérience de course la plus unique que j'ai jamais faite. Il n'y a que vous en France qui avez ce genre de régate, et c'est très spécial pour nous d'y participer.
Pour ce dernier jour de l'acte 1 à Dunkerque, c'est dans des conditions humides et peu ventées que les marins ont dû évoluer.
Aujourd'hui, une journée différente, la météo un peu plus capricieuse, il va falloir prendre les points directement et puis on verra ce que ça va donner à la fin de la journée.
Après avoir disputé 5 parcours construits, c'est le vainqueur du raid côtier d'hier, Groupe Atlantique, qui a prouvé sa polyvalence en s'imposant une nouvelle fois devant Helvetia Blue et Helvetia Purple by Normandie Elite Team. Helvetia Blue by Normandie Elite Team reste cependant en tête du classement général.
Ouais, on est très content de ces 3 premiers jours à Dunkerque, très content de comment ça se déroule pour l'instant. Et puis on va continuer comme ça et on est prêt pour la suite, à fond encore.
On se dit rendez-vous demain au Havre où se déroulera la 2e étape de cette 44e édition. Aujourd'hui, le vent souffle au Havre pour cette 5e journée du Tour Voile et contraint la direction de course à attendre les évolutions météo.
Alors le diam c'est un trimaran, le danger c'est le chavirage s'il y a beaucoup de vent ou surtout s'il y a des rafales. En fait c'est des bateaux qui sont très, on pourrait dire volages mais dans le bon sens du terme, c'est-à-dire qu'ils sont vivants.
Après un premier briefing retardé, la décision est malheureusement prise d'annuler la course.
Donc là, on a envoyé 2 bateaux sur la zone de course vers la pointe de la Havre. Et les rapports que viennent de me faire ces 2 bateaux par radio, c'est que l'état de la mer est complètement chaotique. Donc la décision, elle est prise pour aujourd'hui. C'est jamais de gaieté de cœur, mais c'est comme ça, il faut l'accepter.
Des marins déçus, mais philosophes.
On comprend aisément la décision, parce qu'il y a encore du vent, des vagues, et c'est un risque pour la sécurité et de casser du matériel.
Demain, c'est le premier aliment du Tour Voile entre Le Havre et Saint-Val-la-Hougue, une nouvelle épreuve pour les teams qui découvrent le format.
Premier aliment pour moi, j'ai jamais fait de distance aussi longue avec le diam, donc une découverte, ça va être sympa. Je crois qu'il va falloir se chauffer d'un bord parce que ça risque d'être un peu tout droit.
Naviguer loin des côtes ou sur des longues durées, ça nous fait pas spécialement peur.
On est impatiente d'y aller. C'est quand même le premier aliment qu'il va y avoir sur le tour, donc on a hâte de découvrir un peu le format.
On se dit à demain pour ce premier aliment de l'histoire du Tour Voile en Diam 24.